Hi, welcome back. It's Bumbleberry, and we are here for another exciting adventure known as Seduce Me. Yay!
You're awake, princess. That's a relief. How do you feel?
Making me yawn. I'm sleepy too. I'll say better. Um. Erik nodded before he gently reached over and placed his hand over mine, running his thumb over my knuckles and examining my face with soft sadness.
I must apologize, princess. To see you be hunted by both demons and devils, I feel entirely responsible.
It's all your fault. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to say, Erik, it's not your fault.
No, forgive me, but I can't stand the thought of them hurting you. If we had never come, you'd never be in danger.
I quickly reached over and put my finger on his lips, stopping him from going any further. I didn't want to hear anymore. Erik, it's okay. I wanted to help you out. I offered to let you all stay. Nothing is your fault. I gently moved my hand and cupped Erik's cheek, staring at him with concern. I didn't want him to hold guilt in his mind about this whole ordeal. Diana was desperate, and she'd hunt anyone for them. It wasn't his fault she was desperate enough to hunt them down. However, I was curious. So, Erik, you're a noble? Erik chuckled before he stared at the hand he was caressing with a soft smile.
Yes, I'm a noble. My brothers and I are nobles. Well, I guess I should say were now, shouldn't I?
Hey, it's in your blood. Were?
James was the demon prince when we lived in the Abyssal Plains. The others and I were simply nobles living in the castle, simply because of our bloodline. Should James fail or die, we were the replacements. Well, we didn't want to live like that, as simply replacements over our brother. So we all wanted to leave and be an actual family.
That's nice. What was it like while you were there?
Well, to put it simply, it was boring. James was constantly being trained while the rest of us had to constantly entertain ourselves without disturbing him. I, however, was also being trained under the guidance of my mother.
Ooh, did you all have different moms? Your mother?
Yes, she was a lovely woman. I never knew what she looked like.
Why? That made no sense. How could he not know what his own mother looked like? Erik, as if he read my mind, smiled and chuckled at the confusion on my face.
Our father had multiple wives.
Yeah, there was...
James, myself, Sam, and Matthew came from these very women. But tensions grew high when Damien was born outside our father's marriages.
Oh.
In order to quell the tension, our father had a powerful demon mage turn our mothers into simple, floating spirits.
What?
They lived, but they could not have physical form.
Rude. That's horrible.
It is, but which is better? A house where the sons of the Demon Lord could have their birth mothers, or watching these very women claw at each other's throats out of jealousy, leaving the sons with no true parental guidance?
How about you not have a bunch of wives? That's also an option.
Our father didn't have time for anyone but James, so the rest of us needed someone to make sure we didn't grow up to be incompetent.
Erik had a point. It was horrid, but it was a logical point. I bit my lip and nodded in understanding. Erik gently brought my hand up to kiss my knuckles.
Would you like to see what I mean instead?
Excuse me? I stared, trying to understand what he meant. However, hold on, I gotta readjust. Alright, however, as the memory of when he showed me the demon palace replayed in my mind, I nodded and let my curiosity guide me. Erik smiled before simply holding out one hand to me and letting a small breath brush against his palm. I was like, what am I saying? Thank you. Instantly, the flower Erik had given me appeared in his hand, making him smirk and making me blush.
You kept it. Good.
Erik wrapped his fingers gingerly around the stem, giving it magic it had been given before and casting an aura-like mirror before me. I peered in to see the castle hall once again. The memory of being in the hall, albeit by magic, sent a small shiver down my spine. I watched, however, as a very familiar demon walked arm in arm with a woman with cat ears and a tail down the walkway.
Tiffy, my sweet kitten. You truly astound me. Whatever shall I do with you?
Stop it, you're making me blush.
But what if I want to make you blush? You're so much cuter when you blush, kitten.
Dude.
Stop.
I felt my eye twitch in irritation. Why was Erik showing me this? Was he really trying to spite me? I didn't want to see him flirt with demon girls. I already had some trouble with him flirting with me.
You sly incubus, you. I'll get in trouble for sure if I'm caught with you.
Then shouldn't we make the risk worthwhile?
Erik! Oh! Rude! Rude. Erik held the cat girl close to his body, looking about ready to kiss her. This girl, however, mewed and pulled away, giggling in an almost cute embarrassment.
Such a bad incubus. So bad. I should go.
Ah, very well, you minx. Until we meet again.
Catgirl giggled before rushing out of the main hall, but not before Erik lowered his hand underneath her tail as she turned and let it slide across his fingers as she ran off, making her jump in surprise. The girl playfully glared at Erik, who only pouted innocent lips in return before she exited. However, as the girl left the room, Erik's face went from flirtatious to almost ice-cold. Erik let out a sigh, gently rubbing his hands to rid them of the fur it had caught on them, and rolled his shoulders.
Well, mother, was that enough to please you?
What? I stared in shock to the personality change. What the heck happened to Erik? He was flirting, charming, and almost... Oh, flirting. He was flirty, charming, and almost disgustingly complimentary. But the Erik I was... I'm having trouble with grammar. But the Erik I was seeing in the mirror wasn't him at all. A small red orb surrounded with a veil of purple mist entered the space, making my mind go blank. It approached Erik, glowing as it spoke.
Very well done, dear. Much better than I expected of you.
Thank you. You taught me well.
That I did. You must never forget, however, to always listen to your women. Serving them is your #1 priority. Should they be uncomfortable, you must step back and be as submissive as possible.
Yes, mother.
Good. Now, continue to woo that cat girl. Once she gives you her energy, then you can toss her back out. You don't need any pets hanging around when you find another girl.
As you wish, mother.
Rude! I stared in utter shock. The orb vanished, but Erik remained in the hall, letting out a sigh. He had a look of displeasure on his face. He looked tired as well, but something seemed off. He looked like he had a lot on his mind, but his closed mouth wouldn't let him speak then. He was submissive to his guidance. I turned away from the mirror to look at Erik beside me, who had a look of both sadness and guilt. It was like a puppy admitting to chewing on my favorite shoe or a child stealing a cookie from the cookie jar. Erik stopped the magic, willing the mirror out of existence and letting it fade away in the air before he looked to me.
She taught me well. At least what she could teach me anyway. That visage became habit. And now it's a natural persona to me. She taught me to always serve and make the women I met happy. She always said that that was the true incubus way.
The true incubus way?
It makes sense, no? If I can please and serve any women I meet, then I can surely convince them to fully give their energy to me.
I began to see the mask Erik was wearing. He wasn't putting on airs because he was overly complimentary. He was complimentary in order to gain trust and respect. That is smart.
It is. However, I know what you're thinking, Princess. I don't blame you for thinking what you are thinking of right now.
Then what am I thinking of right now?
Who am I exactly? If I am truly not as flirtatious as I act, then what do I act like, and will you be the next victim? I can assure you, Princess, that I am no danger to you.
That's sweet. How can I be so sure?
Because, Princess, I don't deserve your trust or energy.
I stared, my mind going blank. What did he mean? Erik lifted my hand again and gently caressed it, staring down at it. Oh, he looks so sad. Brushed his hair out of his eyes.
You've done so much for me and my brothers, sheltering us, letting us continue to live here. It may not seem like much, but to a family of brothers without anywhere to go, it means everything. I can't soil your gifts to us by taking anything from you. You've become so important and precious to us. To me. To take anything from you like that would be beyond unforgivable.
I watched in speechless silence as Erik lifted my hand higher and simply laid his lips against it. I could feel his frown and felt his shame burning itself into my skin. It was a pitiful sight and it almost made my eyes water. He looks so sad. Can we please
I
hug
could
him?
never do that to you.
Erik lowered my hand and lowered his head, ashamed. I couldn't help but feel my heart squeeze within my chest at the sight. He didn't want to hurt me. He truly cared. Erik let out a small sigh before looking to me, his face now clear of the flirtatious mask he bore for so long. He had a genuine, caring, and loving smile bared for me. This was the man inside of the incubus who cared for me and wanted to be revealed.
Now, Princess, you must get some more rest. You aren't fully recovered, and dinner is a good scent to wake up to.
Erik smiled and gently pressed me back down onto the bed. I'm gonna kiss. I wanna kiss. I wanna kiss. Ooh, I got a heart pulse. I couldn't let him leave without doing something. I quickly pulled Erik down to me, lifted. Okay, if this is gonna get too sexy, I'll have that skip ahead sequence again. I quickly pulled Erik down to me, lifted my head, and gently kissed him, softly laying a hand on his cheek to keep his face close. Erik stared in deep surprise before hesitantly kissing me back, caressing my cheek and slightly melting at the touch of our lips. A soft sigh escaped his lips before he slowly pulled away with a smile. He gently licked his lips, making me go red in the face at the simple gesture. He let out a satisfied hum before nuzzling my forehead.
Sleep.
Never! And with that, he stood up and left the room, leaving me to rest as per his request. I smiled to myself before relaxing into the mattress. Oh, no. What? I suddenly tensed up. I felt majorly uneasy. Something wasn't right. I felt it in my core. She must be here. The thought of her in the house infuriated me beyond belief. I had to make sure that she was not here. I rolled out of bed and quickly left my room, wandering the halls and listening closely. She was a demon, but I was listening very intently. There was no way she'd be able to sneak up on me. Let me just save over here in the meantime. I know you're here. Where are you? I could feel myself growl. It wasn't a matter of fear that she'd taken away the boys anymore. Her very existence had lit a fire of rage within my gut, which only grew as each day went by. This feud was getting on my nerves, and I knew it would not end well for one of us. I wasn't going to lose to that demon witch.
Diana, what a pleasant surprise.
Ah, Erik! My heart stopped. Diana was with Erik. My mind flew into slow motion, playing fake images of Diana trying to seduce Erik in my head to further fan the angry flame inside of me. What was even worse was that Erik could play into Diana's flirtatious game. Instinctively, I followed Erik's voice and blushed wildly. I was approaching the bathroom. What? The door was open just a crack, wide enough to peek in without being noticed. I peeked in to see Erik what is wrong with his eyes? I peeked to see Erik by the bathtub with Diana sitting on the sink looking at him.
Such a gentleman. You know how to treat a woman.
That I do. However, I'm afraid that my manners will not replace my sickening hatred towards you.
I'm hurt, wounded truly. Is this how you really address a woman?
A woman you may be, but you are an enemy as well.
Pity. And here I thought I was going to offer you the chance to become something better than just a simple incubus.
What was Diana going on about? More than just an incubus? She was insane.
I highly doubt you have anything more than what I can have here in the human world.
Although, I don't know who she'd be best with if she had to marry one of the boys. What do you think? Who do you think she'd be good with? Besides us, obviously, because everyone is best with us. But still.
How about becoming the next demon lord?
No thanks, he's good. I froze. What did she mean? Becoming the next demon lord? The boys weren't in the demon world anymore. They had no claim to the throne anymore.
Becoming the next demon lord? You're overstepping yourself, don't you think? How can you know about who the throne goes to?
Well, currently, I'm the contracted bride to the heir to the throne. Since the throne is open, it's available to any son of the demon lord's line.
Is that so?
It is. You'll gain the throne, the land, and a bride to continue your lineage with. Doesn't that sound like a perfect life for an incubus like you?
I could feel myself gripping my fist tightly in anger. How dare this girl try to convince Erik to return to the demon world? Hi-ya! He ran away from it. He didn't have to go back. He shouldn't go back. My mind began to wander, imagining him saying yes. He would leave and the brothers would follow to bring him back. They'd be trapped because Diana would make sure they could never leave. Erik would be the new demon lord with Diana as his queen, and I'd lose him.
Sorry, but that actually doesn't sound appeasing at all.
Should be appealing. But
What?
I felt surprise run down my body again. Did I hear Erik correctly? He denied her?
You dare deny!
Do not try to raise a tone to me. I am not as submissive as my training defines.
I could see the ethereal tendrils slowly form around Erik, taunting and threatening to strike at Diana.
You do not scare me. I can bring you to your knees and make you beg to return with me.
Such a cute bluff. You don't have enough power to do that, do you? Or else you would have already done it.
Ooh. Erik smirked before making the tendrils fade away. Diana gripped the sink beneath her as Erik turned to adjust the shower head nonchalantly.
Besides, even if you did enthrall me, you wouldn't fully own me. I belong to her.
Yay! Bumble. It looks so silly in there, but I get it.
The human girl? You must be joking. A human like her can't possibly provide you what you need. She's a human. You're a demon.
I felt the urge to storm in and shut her mouth. That would have been stupid. It would give away my position, but I was growing extremely tired of Diana. Hold your position. I didn't want to step in at the wrong time. Erik could handle Diana. I trusted him enough to fight for me. I stood my ground and watched in silence.
Now you've annoyed me for long enough, and I'm in need of a shower. Will you leave?
And if I don't want to?
I can just as easily have one of my brothers escort you out.
Impertinent, aren't you?
Diana sighed before crossing her arms and leaning on one hip.
This was a complete waste of my time. I should have just enthralled your little human girlfriend and made her jump off a cliff.
Erik looked at Diana, glaring daggers into her soul as she raised her arms up gently, as if to block his attempts to scare her.
Though, I'm not surprised she hasn't come out of her little hiding spot to come and defend you.
Diana then looked over in my direction, locking eyes with me. I froze in surprise. She knew I was there. Diana smirked as I stepped into the
Humans
room.
are such fleeting creatures. She can never fully and truly love a demon.
No!
Let me know when you figure that out, my dear. I'll come running.
Are you okay, princess?
I nodded in response, returning the embrace. I wasn't sure what to do. Erik pulled my hand. Oh, yes, deep
Come.
love.
I'll carry you back to bed.
I'm just going to read it because I actually went through 2 different timelines. Erik wrapped his arm around my shoulders, and lowered his other arm underneath my knees. I easily held up on him as he lifted me up like a blushing bride and carried me out of the room. Erik was kind enough to know my mind and would not force the issue no matter what. He was too sweet, and I didn't deserve his kindness. Erik gently lowered me onto my bed before petting my head with a loving smile. I was beaming in happiness. As Erik turned to leave, I slowly sank into the covers, relaxing. The sound of footsteps echoed before finally I was alone. I rested my head against the pillows, enjoying the cool they provided as I closed my eyes. I'll be ready when I'm ready. Will it be soon? Who knew? All I knew was that at that moment I made the choice I felt was right. Now I'm actually gonna go over and do the other choice where I barge in. Let's go.
Barge in and set her straight. Yes! Okay, that was the right choice. I decided to be assertive and quickly stepped into the room, throwing the door to get the bathroom wide open. Diana and Erik looked at me in surprise as I glared daggers at Diana. Get out.
Well, well, little human, you're awfully nosy in business that doesn't concern you.
It does concern me.
Does it?
Yes!
I don't think a human would understand the importance of this affair.
I do. You're asking him to leave to be someone he doesn't want to be. That's not going to happen.
Oh? And what makes you so sure about that?
I love him. Ah! They're both surprised. Diana stared in shock at my exclamation. Was it not what she expected? I didn't care what she expected. I wasn't going to lose the man I had grown to love.
You love him?
Yes, I love him. Diana's lips twitched, the edges curling into an amused smirk as she stared at me.
So what? A human's love isn't enough to understand the situation. A demon can never reciprocate human feeling.
To both of our surprise, however, Erik stepped forward and put an arm around me, pulling me close to his body.
I love her.
You love me too. I saw the confidence Diana had shatter in her eyes as she stared at Erik and his words. I could see the struggle in her face to try and find some weakness in Erik. In me. Anything.
A demon love a human? Impossible.
Impossible? How utterly dim to think that. We are the masters of emotion. We aren't barred away from feeling love. In fact, we can experience it 10 times more powerfully than humans.
Well, that stinks. That means he loves me more. But maybe that's good.
I love her with every single part of my being. However, I don't expect someone like you to understand love.
Diana took a step back, physically feeling the sting of Erik's words in her chest. She had lost. I could see it in her eyes. Diana's eyes grew dull as she glared at me and Erik. It seemed almost uncharacteristic of her, yet it was something I wasn't surprised to see come from her face.
Very well. Fine. Valet.
With that, Diana faded into the ground in a purple pentagram, crossing her arms and looking upset. Erik and I were then left alone, left with the silence of the room. I finally let out the arrows. Oh, there we go.
Are you okay,
Then he
princess?
holds me again. I nodded in response, unable to speak so immediately after being surprised. Erik let out a sigh, relaxing in the embrace. I gently placed my hands around him, returning the embrace slightly. I could hear his heartbeat. He held me close in his arms, and I felt safe beyond words.
My sweet princess, how you've captured my heart.
Squee! I looked up at Erik, wondering what he meant by what he said. Erik smiled down at me, moving a strand of my hair from my face to look down at me.
I'm selfish, ignorant, and undeserving of everything you have done and given to me. The way you accept me and see through my mask astounds me beyond words. And now, you've captured my heart and claimed it as yours to probably the greatest adversary in the abyssal plains. You've made a demon fall in love with you. I've fallen in love with you and want to give you everything you deserve.
Cake, give me cake. I stared wide-eyed, blushing like a maniac. Was this real? No way, this couldn't be real. Was Erik confessing to me? Confessing his love for me? Erik gently smiled and caressed my cheek. The warmth of his hand invited me to nuzzle into it, and I closed my eyes. This wasn't a dream. My heart was pounding hard enough where I was sure Erik could hear it. Erik gently leaned in. He stopped, however, remaining just a mere torturous inch away from my lips. He wanted me to show my feelings for him. He had left himself open for me to kiss him or leave him empty. The power I had was unbelievable. Caress his cheek. Kiss him! Yes! I loved him and wanted to give him exactly what he wanted. I gently leaned in, letting my lips finally touch his gingerly. Erik let out an almost pleasured purr against my lips before wrapping both of his arms around my waist, pulling me close to him. I moved my arms up. Sorry if you have to hear that too. I moved my arms up and around his neck, feeling the kiss between us deep into a heated height. My chest was pounding, making me feel and see fireworks in my mind. Erik was everything I desired. He was the man I wanted. demon or not. It was also supernatural to fall in love with someone so quickly. Maybe it was the sense magic I was thrown into. Maybe it was Cupid playing with my heart. Either way, I found myself melting at the thought of him being with me. I found myself combing my fingers through Erik's hair, making the man holding me softly tremble at my touch. He gently nibbled on my lower lip, asking me to deepen the kiss between us even further. I easily teased him before finally opening my mouth slightly for him. His tongue gently danced with mine as one of his hands slid up my back and cradled my head. That's how I thought they were going. He gently leaned my body back, making me cling to him as the heat of our kiss rose higher and higher. Gently, though, Erik slowed the kiss down and pulled away, staring down at me. His eyes burned for me, wanting me to melt and buckle in his arms. I could feel myself melt already. Erik opened his mouth to speak, but a very small blush ran along his cheeks. He was reduced to shy silence. I stared as he tried to find the words to say in my eyes. I knew exactly what he wanted. He didn't need energy, though, right? Are you?
No, I just...
I stared wide-eyed, feeling a blush on I'm blushing too, girl, don't worry. He didn't say anything more, but I knew that what words would have followed if he continued. He wanted me. Score! I was stunned. Was I that appealing to him? Was his passion really that deep for me? Erik gently nuzzled my forehead, losing the blush and finally being able to speak, a small chuckle escaping his lips.
If you don't want to, we don't have to. I do have to shower after all, and you need your rest.
I'm blushing so hard. I could feel my mind go numb and purr at the idea. A moment with an incubus. He was a demon of sex, the purest form of lust and desire. My world would rock, and I would enjoy every second of it. At the same time, I was indeed, inexperienced. Diana wasn't wrong when she claimed me to be innocent. Did I want to give that innocence to him? Especially this early? I found myself forgetting the words yes and no. What could I say to him? I knew then what I wanted, but how to say it without breaking the moment? Hold me or seduce me. Also, hold me is no, seduce me. That's what the game's called. We're gonna leave it there. Ooh, the big, cliffhanger. So we're gonna save the big scene, the one you've all been waiting for the next episode. But I hope you're enjoying, and I'm pretty sure we're near the end of the game. I mean, we've defeated Diana. We're about to potentially make some exciting decisions. So I'll see you on the next episode. Let me know what you think, and I hope you stay sweet. Have a good one. Bye.